welcome to another exciting episode of Real Talk here at the studios of Hope TV Ghana. My name is Evie, the host for the show, and today we are in the studios of Hope TV Ghana. As always, every Wednesday we come your way with Real Talk, where real conversations happen, where real people have that real conversation that you probably struggle with, where we find you real solutions. It's a safe space, and so I would encourage that if you have any story, you send it to us and we will make sure we find you the right people to have the right conversation. We are live on your Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana, and we want the conversation to be very interactive, so I would encourage you to leave your comments, your thoughts under the comment section, and we can all learn from each other and have a comprehensive discussion. Today we are going to look at a very interesting story. We have a lawyer in the studio to have the conversation so that we are getting the right information to you. Let me just go straight ahead and introduce my guests to you. He is lawyer Eugene Adu. Good evening, how are you?
Good evening. I'm doing well. How are you doing too?
I'm fine, thank you. How's your week been?
Been good, fairly good.
Fairly good, huh?
Yeah.
We thank God. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I am going to go straight into the story so that we can start our conversation. This story is titled Stolen Childhood, When Family Fails You. Evie, I have carried this pain for so long. I have tried to forget, to move on, but silence has only made the pain heavier. So today I choose to speak. I was just 8 when my father died. Life changed overnight. My mother was left with 5 children and no stable income. She did what she could, waking up before dawn to sell in the market and returning long after sunset. I was the second born, but because my elder brother wasn't responsible, I became the one holding the family together. I was just a child, but my childhood ended early. Then one day, my uncle came from Accra. He looked successful and sounded kind. He told my mother, let me take her to the city. I'll take care of her like my own. She will get a good education and her future will be bright. My mother hesitated, but eventually said yes. After all, isn't family supposed to help? But that promise was a lie. The day I entered my uncle's house, I stepped into a new kind of suffering. There was no school, no care, no love. Instead, I became a maid. I cooked, cleaned, fetched water, washed clothes, bathed their children, and served as their nanny, housekeeper, and errand girl. I would wake up before sunrise to cook breakfast for children I should have been learning with. I watched them walk out in neat uniforms to school while I stayed back scrubbing floors. My uncle's wife called me useless. She insulted me in front of guests. Sometimes she beat me for no reason at all. My uncle never stopped her. He watched it all in silence. For 5 years, I lived this way. No books, no joy, no voice. I became an invincible servant in the house of my own family. I believed this was my fate, but one day I overheard something that shattered me. My uncle's wife told a visitor, we can't send her to school. Who will do the house chores if she goes? That was when I knew they had never planned to help me. I wasn't a niece, I was their maid. So I ran with no money and nowhere to go. I walked for hours until I found a church. I broke down and told my story to a woman who took me in and helped me find my mother. When I finally saw her, we both wept. She had been sending money to my uncle, thinking he was using it for my education. She had no idea I was being abused and enslaved. Now I am older, I have found people who believe in me. I am learning again. But my childhood was stolen, not by strangers, but by the people who were supposed to protect me. Evie, how many more children are trapped like I was? How many house helps are actually abused relatives with broken homes and broken dreams? How long will this be normal? Something must change.
Very
Lawyer,
interesting.
very interesting. What is that one thing that comes to mind when you hear this story?
I think I agree with the caption. Her childhood was stolen.
Yeah.
But I also think that we should look at the way forward.
Okay.
Looking at the story, I think we should look at what can we do to correct some of these mistakes and some of these wrongs.
Yeah.
That's one thing that comes to mind when you hear stories like this.
I guess my question then will be, her mother thought, oh, this is family. Her uncle, he's going to take care of her. What should parents truly consider before sending their wards off to live with others, even if they are family members?
I think that I would strongly speak against that.
Okay.
Giving your children out to go and stay with, even if family relation or whatsoever. Because I believe that the best person to cater for a child is the parent.
Yeah.
So, except for extreme reasons or circumstances, parents should really try to have their kids be with them. In fact, that's one of the rights of the child.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the rights that a child has to stay with the parent.
Okay.
So if a parent is giving out the child, it means that it should be at an instance where there is nothing else to do.
That the other person will be better.
Yes.
For the child.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are some exemptions. So like maybe the parents are abusive and therefore the child continues to stay with the parent isn't the right thing for some reasons. So if not for those reasons, the best thing for a parent to do is let your child stay with you. I say it because you see things like character formation.
Yeah.
That's the sole responsibility of the parents.
Right.
Your child going to stay with someone, how is the person going to train the child? Is it going to be how you want it or how that person wants it? Remember, you are not staying with the person.
Yeah.
There are some little things the person may be doing that you may not want. So I think that if not for any strange reason, make sure your child stays with you.
So in this situation, so when I was going through the story, one thing that came to mind was, so all this while, she never went to visit the uncle, she never called, like, what, did they prevent her from calling? Or whenever she calls, they are standing there watching the girl to make sure that she's feeding her mother lies. But in this situation, let's just say the woman did not check up on the child. Can we say that parents who don't do this, like when you send your child away and you don't check up on them, is it something where we can say you are legally or morally complicit in that?
I think morally you are, because I mean, I don't know what will prevent a mother from checking up on the child. Probably the story might have come clear on that.
Yeah.
But to leave your child with, I don't know how long the child stayed with the uncle.
Yeah,
but even if for a year,
5 years.
5 years, that was too much.
Yeah.
There was no call. At least there are some instances you should even ask of the school the child is attending. And probably surprise your child one of these days. Just go to the school, come to check up on my ward, how is she doing in school, what's the performance. I'm sure if she had done that, I'm sure the 5 years would have been a little shorter, where she would have realized that, no, what I wish for my child is not what is being given. So probably she would have changed the narrative if she had at least tried to check up on the child at some point.
Yeah. But lawyer, you know, in a part of the world, there's this thing where we say, oh, we serve people. Our culture, we do that a lot. You have to serve people, and also sometimes some people even say that when you live with people, you know how to live your life. I've heard things like that. So this cultural belief of helping a child through the family system, do you think it is enabling child exploitations? Where people will come in, sometimes it's not even family. We've had instances where people will come and say, oh, I work with this NGO, I want to take your child and give them a better life. And it ends up in sex trafficking, child slavery, all those things. Do you think that our culture is enabling this sort of behavior?
I would say yes and no. In the sense, I believe in serving. Yes, as a child you should serve. I mean, you should be doing house duties right from your childhood, because you're not going to stay with your parent forever. There's going to be a time you're going to be independent. I mean, how are you going to manage your life then? All these things would come to play looking at how you were trained. So children need to serve, but then the service shouldn't be at the detriment of their education or health, where you would stop school, you don't go to school because there are things that you have to do in the house. You don't have enough sleep, you're not able to read your books and stuff like that. That is where the issue is. So yes, our culture that children need to serve, that's good. We need to encourage that. But it shouldn't go to the extent that it affects the education of the child or even the health of the child. I mean, why should a child work from up to 8 p.m.? The child is still working. I mean, children, at least even if the child is not sleeping by that time, either reading your books or even relaxing at that stage. So the cultural narrative that children should serve, I agree with that. But I don't think that it should be done at the expense of the child's welfare. I agree with you as well. You know, in this story, clearly she later found her mother and now she's doing much better. But the mother also said that, oh, I was sending money
I'm surprised your uncle didn't take you to school. So I guess then it brings my mind to what could the mother have done better? What are some of the things she could have done to safeguard, to make sure that the money she's sending is being used for the right purposes, and the child she sends away is there doing as they said she would, go to school, live with her cousins? Could she have done better? If she could, what are some of the ways? You mentioned surprise visit to the school. What are some of the ways she could have safeguarded that her child is not being exploited, and even her money in this case is not being used under false pretense? In
simple terms, even during vacation, you can invite your child over.
Yeah,
come and spend some days with me during vacations. I'm sure then I think she would have gotten snipers of whatever is happening in the house. So the mother could have done something. And I don't also want to blame the mother that much.
Okay.
Yes, let's not blame the mother. I'm sure she did it with the trust and all the energy that she has in the brother.
Yes.
Thinking that the brother, after all, is family, and therefore the brother will do well for the child. So yes, she, like I said, she could have invited the child over during vacation, surprise visit. I don't know whether she called the brother.
It's not even clear.
It's not even clear.
Yeah.
So one of the things she could have also done was to call the brother. How's my child doing? Can I talk to the child? Once a while, you could have done that. Even if you can't go, once you are sending money, it means that you still have your child in mind.
Yeah.
And so money doesn't do anything. Just she should have followed up on the child, find out what's going on, or even invite the child. I think those are some of the things that the mother could have done. Yeah.
Okay, so in this story, the girl didn't go to school, but I want us to look at another situation where the children are sent to school, all right, but their attendance is very, sometimes they go, sometimes they don't go. Sometimes they don't go for a long time, you know, and they are home, prolonged vacations, they don't come back. I think let's speak about how schools can also help detect when there's abuse. How can schools help detect when children are being abused? Maybe they come and say, oh, she's traveling. Then they take the child out for like a whole long period in the term. I know for outside the country, I don't know about Ghana, but for outside the country, when your child hasn't come to school for a while, they will call they'll call child services, child protective services. They'll find out why this child has not been to school. Is there something in Ghana like that? Is there something in our laws like that?
I think that I don't know I don't think there's any law like that. I think schools that do that out of voluntary will or something of that sort. But it's a nice thing that schools should do. Check up on children once a while. You do find out from what is going on with the child, what is happening in the home. I thought before going to the law school, there was this child that I noticed at a point that even the slippers the child was wearing, the feet was touching the ground.
Oh.
So I remember I spoke to him, I told him I want to give you a photo. The child told me, if the stepmother finds out, that's another issue, so I should just allow him. So schools needs to, aside teaching, you need to find out the well-being of the child. Go the extra mile to talk to the child, find out what is happening in the house. But you also don't blame teachers. Like I said, I was once there. I mean, how much is the person's salary? The person is teaching and hoping school closes so that he or she goes to do another job to make up. So he's in a hurry to leave the school after teaching.
True.
So let's look at that. But the best thing is I think schools should be interested in the children they teach as well. I think in the SS there's a psychologist or something. I think they have a counseling unit.
Yes, like a guidance counselor or something like that.
Where probably children who are troubled can go there or something. Maybe we can try that in the basic school. Because even, so when you take the basic, for instance, they cannot really talk compared to somebody in the senior high school. For them, sometimes they can even stand up to those people who are abusing them.
True.
But these basic children, they are very vulnerable, and then when things of this sort happen, they can't even speak. So we should also be looking at that side very well.
True.
Probably a teacher being mandated to look at that aspect of the children, where they can talk to children and find out probably what is happening to them at home. Who knows? One of them may talk, and then that will be a clue to find out what is really happening in the home.
I completely agree. I want us to look at the law before we look at the church and other aspects, because I want us to spend time on the law aspect. What is the term used for this practice in the law?
I was struggling to find a definite term for that, but I think that the actions of the uncle will be situated in the Children's Act.
Okay.
The Children's Act, I think, in 1998 at 560.
Okay.
Where, so like what I said, the child has the right to stay with the parent is one of the sections with the, so we can say that there's a breach in that area. There's also a section where the child has the right to leisure. So children are not supposed to work all day or play all day. You have to designate period for them where they can have free time to do stuff. So I think the actions will border on breaches in the Children's Act, where they fail to ensure the welfare of the child. In fact, the crack of the whole act is that everything that happens to a child, the welfare of the child should be paramount.
Okay.
So going to stay with the uncle, was it in the best interest of the child? If it's yes, then it's allowed. If no, then probably then there was something wrong in that context. So basically, I think the action will border on breaches in the Children's Act. Yes.
This situation, can we call it trafficking?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I disagree with trafficking because if you look at trafficking, there must be some money exchange.
Yeah.
Some sort of buying the child.
Yeah.
So I don't think, because this one was a voluntary act from the mother, they all agreed.
Yes.
It is just that things didn't go the way they had planned.
Yes. So then it means that the legal protection has to do with the Children's Act that protects the child from all of these things.
Yes.
But in this case that this has happened, what is the legal action that the mother can take?
For me, I don't think. I think there's nothing the woman can do now.
Oh.
Probably just maybe retrieving the money. He could have. He can tell he used the money for something else for the upkeep of the child. At least to feed the child. Yeah. So if you look at, they not allowing the child to go to school. The right to education is a fundamental human right.
Okay.
But when it is taken away from you, what do? You can't. There are no clear sanctions to that when someone would refuse you your right to education, especially in this instance where that era has passed. If she was still in the house and you're preventing her from going to school, then maybe the social welfare department or such can come in to correct that and ensure that she gets to school. But now that that period had passed, I wonder how she can sue the uncle for breaching her right to education when there's no clear-cut sanctions when those things are done.
Okay, so if she was in a situation, could she sue for breaching the rights to?
If she was in that situation, not necessarily suing, but then the social welfare can come in.
Okay.
And then ensure that that's wrong is corrected, so she can then be put into school, and then she continues with. Probably they will take her. They might even take her from the uncle's house.
Okay. And
then probably give her another form of shelter. Whether going back to the mother or somebody else who would help to champion the welfare of the child.
Okay. So this means that the role of the Department of Social Welfare is paramount here. Are they the department that can take up this issue? Can police come in, can strike? Like, what are some of the roles these departments or organizations can play to prevent these situations?
So I think, for me, the police and SHRAD will be extreme. But I think the social welfare are best placed. You know, they are like, let me say, they deal with the matter like in an arbitration form, or let's say mediation form. So very calmly talk to both sides, try to find out how best we can settle this. So I think in this instance, the social welfare could have come in if they reported the matter to them. They have come in and then settle the matter. The police may come in when we are looking at abuse, and then maybe some violent acts. That is where maybe you may want to report to the police. But when it is acts clearly like this, preventing the child from going to school, the child working way beyond her strength and time, that is where the social welfare for me can come in at that level.
Okay. So, Lawyer, I want you to take time and educate us on the Children's Act, so that anybody out there will know that children have a right as well, and parents or any guardian cannot take up the role of being a guardian and just doing anything just because you think nobody's looking out for these children. And maybe, like you said, they cannot talk themselves, they cannot defend themselves, they cannot even go out and say that, oh, this person is doing so to me. For fear, like the boy you wanted to help, he said no, because the stepmother, when he finds out that he has new shoes, that's another trouble. That's another. So how can, like, educate us so that we know that children are actually protected under the law and no parent or guardian can take advantage of that right?
Okay. So like I said, there's a Children's Act, and the cardinal principle of that act is that the welfare of the child is paramount. In fact, it says that in everything that you do with a child, ensure that the welfare of the child is paramount. It's the first and the most important thing that you should ensure if you are dealing with a child.
Okay.
So in everything I would do, like this, I said, the mother allowing the child to go and stay with the uncle, the first thing that you need to consider, was that the best principle, was that the best means?
Yeah.
I think she narrated how there were many and life was a bit difficult and stuff like that. So that's one can do. Also, the act also talks about a certain rights that children have. So like I said, one of them is that the child has the right to grow with the parents.
Yes.
Except for some reasons like maybe abuse or stuff like that. Those child. So the child also has the right, like I said, there's some things like leisure. Children are not supposed to are not supposed to work all day, learn all day, please. They should have time for leisure. We also have, children have the right to education and well-being.
Okay.
So like I said, every child must go to school. And the child should, so the act talks about children below 18 years. So within that period, any level that the child wants to get to, the parent, it's your responsibility to ensure the child gets to that level.
Okay.
So is it primary, GHS, senior high, whatever, you must ensure that the child enjoys all these benefits that the act. And also there's also nationality. Children are supposed to have nationality. They're supposed to have things like birth cert, for instance.
Okay.
So when you give birth to a child, ensure that the child is registered. It is not the child's duty to go and register him or herself. You must ensure that the child is registered.
Right.
Both parents need to appear on the set. So, for example, if your mother and the father didn't whatsoever, it's not your responsibility to write your name and then exclude the father's name.
Oh,
both names needs to appear.
Can you put somebody else's name?
No. So like us, no. It's the child's parent. That's the child's right. I need to know my dad. I need to know my mom. So if it's my dad going to do that, you don't exclude my mother probably because of what my mom did to you.
Yeah.
If it's my dad, if it's my mom, you don't do that because of. So you don't do that because of the opposite sex.
Oh, yeah, lots of people are doing things in this country.
That's wrong. That's wrong. The child needs to know who his or her real parents are. Okay. That's one of the rights of the child. So basically, there are sanctions when you go against some of them. Okay. I think that there's a fine of 5 million. That is in 1990 when it was passed. I'm sure there's been some amendment. And then there's also imprisonment of not more than 2 years.
So 5 million, like 500.
So that's 1998 when it was passed. Okay. I'm sure there's been some amendment to the amount of money. And then an imprisonment of 2 years.
Okay.
So you can do either of them or you can do the two.
I see.
Depending on the. So for instance, like this, if the child reported during that period and it has traveled to that far, that is what the man was likely to face.
Okay.
A fine or probably imprisonment, or do the two, pay the fine and then you still go to prison.
I see.
Serve the prison term.
That's very interesting to know. So lawyer, in your opinion, do you think these laws protecting children are strong enough? Do you think that the laws of Ghana can be strengthened in a way where we can fish out some of these people? You know how outside you can just be in your home and social services banging on your door to say that we've gotten a report that there's child neglect here and all that. Do you think our society is like that, or you think that still there are loopholes here and there where people are, hiding from the law?
Someone once said that in Ghana we are good at making laws, but then when it comes to implementing the laws, that's where the problem is. So I think when you look at it, there are lots of things that, in fact, when I was going through, for example, children have the right to opinion.
They do?
Yes, they do have the right to opinion.
I'm sure you and I were growing up,
yes.
we don't have a right.
I mean, how dare you to talk to say something contrary to what your mom was saying?
Exactly.
But children have the right to opinion, especially when the matter has to do with them.
Okay.
So the laws are there, but then it's the enforcement that's where the issue is, trying to enforce what you have. Many children are in schools, many children are doing programs that they don't really want to.
I know.
But that's what their mom or dad wants.
Oh, you be a doctor.
Exactly. So you don't have an opinion. Yeah. But we have a law that says that children have the right to opinion, especially when the matter even concerns them.
Yeah.
So for me, the laws are there, but we are handicapped in terms of enforcing those laws. So in terms of children, for instance, the social welfare, for instance, play a pivotal role in child welfare. But how resourced are they? And the last time I saw one office was, I think, Elmina also. It was just one office and a certain woman and then a service person who was working there. I mean, looking at the whole municipality, only 2 people. How can they do that? So I think the laws are there, but then we are left with how to enforce them. That has become our challenge as a country. That has become our challenge as a country. And so earlier on, we said something about the schools.
Yes.
If we can strengthen the schools in that regard, they can also help.
Yeah.
Because most students spend a lot of time
in the school.
So if we have that, the schools can. I don't know if you have come across this, a child called 8.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
It was through the school that this guy was able to be saved. Other than that, yes, they found out. Other than that, he would have been in that state too, for God knows how, when he was. So I think that for the laws there, we have it. We are left with how to enforce those laws.
And you know, our part of the world, we are known to be famanyame.
That's true.
Oh, God will punish him. He will get his punishment on Judgment Day. But how do we make sure that people take accountability for their actions?
Yes, I agree with you on that point. The famanyame, I think, is becoming too much. I'm not trying not to be Christian or Adventist. I believe in that. I believe in God and I believe in everything. But I think that there are some things that we should allow people to be accountable. People should pay for what they do. There was this lady, we were doing something for her. At the point she called me and said, "Oh, Eugene, yes, let it go," because she's afraid of the person that is. I said, "Oh." But in the end, it went well for the person. Even with abuse and domestic violence, the people who suffer these acts tend to say, "Oh, let me pray it." But reporting the person and letting law enforcement agencies do the person doesn't mean you don't like the person.
No.
In fact, you're rather helping the person.
Yes.
People go through that, they come out and then they become a better person.
Yes.
So I think that the famanyame thing, yes, you pray about it, but the physical aspect needs to be done. Reporting the person, letting the law enforcement agency deal with them. Some just they need a little bit of talking to sort. Oh, don't do this, don't do that, do this, and then things become. But if you sit down and then you absorb whatever comes to you as famanyame, for all you know, the person might then worse the next time or to another person. And that will be worse than what the person did to you.
I agree. And when people feel like they can get away with things, they get bolder.
Yes, that's true.
They end up doing
that's true.
more.
Nothing will happen to me.
Exactly.
You keep.
We have to go for a quick break. When we come back, Lawyer and myself will look at the church and individual. Do not go anywhere. This is Real Talk. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from that quick break. We are still in the studios of Hope TV Ghana, coming your way with Real Talk. My name is Evie and I have been doing this with lawyer Eugene Adu. The story we are looking at today is stolen childhood when family fails you. So if you just joined us, you've missed half of the show already. There's this young lady that was sent to go and live with her uncle. Her uncle came for her and said, oh, I'll take her to school, I'll take care of her. She gets there and only to find out that she's the maid. She's cleaning, she's sweeping, she's scrubbing, she is helping her cousins out to go to school, preparing breakfast, all that. She was never taken to school. She overheard her uncle's wife, so that's her auntie, saying that we never intend to take her to school. She's going to help us around the house. Good for her. She ran away, went to a church, met a woman who ended up being a good savior, finally found her mother, and she told her that this was what's happened to me. The mother said, I have been sending money to your uncle to take you to school. I didn't know he didn't take me to school. And the girl is now saying that she's doing much better now, you know. But she's wondering how many children are trapped or find themselves in this situation. And we've been trying to look at the laws of Ghana and how it protects children. And so far we've learned a lot that children actually have a lot of rights under the laws of Ghana. And so when you're doing something to a child thinking you can get away with it, think twice. One day the law will find you. But we want to look at the church because as a society, there are certain institutions that play a huge role. School is one, church is one. And the law is like, you know, everybody's under the law. So, but the church, is it a safe haven or are they just watching and being silent witnesses? Lawyer, what role should churches and religious leaders play in protecting children in these circumstances? Because sometimes even children that are abused have been taken to churches to say that they are demonic. They are casting out demons from them. And they will be whipped and chained and treated like, you know, anything less than human. What role can the church play?
So the church is like Jesus on earth. So just as Jesus would accept everybody and any person, that's what the church should do.
Yeah.
So I think at a point I suggested in my church that probably we should have a counseling unit.
Okay.
Or a counseling session.
I think that's
and then I was told all pastors go through counseling, like their thoughts, or they have a course like that in that regard. I don't know if it's true, but the point is that all churches, I wish if all churches can do that, maybe districts or even the conference could have a counseling unit or a counseling session where people can go there and then vent whatever is happening to them. You know, there's a correlation between venting whatever is happening to you, so and your well-being.
Yes.
Because if you continue to harbor and then keep whatever is happening to you, at a time you may explode when you don't have to. So sometimes if you realize there are some people you could be talking to them, and then the people will respond with certain things that do not really affect what you are discussing with the person. The people are looking for a way to come up with whatever is in them. So I think that the church, I think that maybe if the churches can do, conference can do, have a counseling unit, a counseling session where people can come in there and they probably express whatever is happening to them. Or maybe, like pastors can have maybe throughout the days, fix a day for counseling where church members can come in there and then probably talk to the pastor. This is what is happening to me. For all you know, those people don't really want any help. They just want somebody to listen to them. For all you know, so because the person that is abusing or infringing on his or her rights is the person that he or she is staying with.
Yes.
So who do I talk to?
Yes.
So if I come out and I could get someone, just this is what is happening to me. Like I said, some of them they don't need anything.
Yes, true.
Just somebody to just listen to. So if the churches can do that, either have created a counseling unit. If you can't do that, the pastors can allocate a day, the week, maybe with some elders, sit down and just listen to people. Let them come out and come and talk. What is happening to them? This is what is happening to me. I've been stuck up in this attitude or this thing with my partner or with my child or with my mother or whatsoever. Please, just hear me out. I think it will help.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it will.
And specifically to this story, I think that even the people we put in charge of the children's ministry should have some sort of training, like you're saying, so that they can see the signs of an abused child. So that they won't just look at the child and say, this child is stubborn. When we say sit here, she doesn't sit. When we say this, this child is too quiet, she's not active. She doesn't study the Bible, you know? For
all you know, somebody's attitude is just a clue to whatever is happening in the house. So I agree with you that, yes, we should not always look at, we should look at the professionals as well in those areas.
Yes.
Children ministries and even the early teens, their leaders and the rest of people who are versed, who have knowledge in these areas, who would not be seeing a boy as a stubborn child, but then would want to go behind those stubborn acts and then look at what is really leading or causing the child to behave like that. So I agree with you. We should look at that aspect.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be, so to speak, I'm not downplaying the efforts of children ministry leaders or teachers, but we should put in more effort. If the person doesn't even have enough knowledge in that area, when the church appoints such a person, the person can go through training.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So sometimes we learn on the job and all those, and those people can become better people in the near future. So I agree with you that the churches should look, I think we should look at, the church should look at the human welfare as a serious business.
True.
Yes. Excuse me, it's not only about Daniel, Revelation, that's good. But that child's welfare, with the grace of respect, the child is not even into Daniel and Revelation at that stage.
Exactly.
The child is just looking at probably how to have a little leisure at home. I mean, he or she can run around, can have friends around, enjoy one or two programs that he or she wants. Yes. I mean, have some reading books and the rest. That's what the child is looking at from that stage. So I think as a church, let's look at that. You know what? If somebody is growing up, or if some of these things, if it's not taken care of, it might affect the child forever. Yeah. So as a church, we should look at those areas very well, because there's this phrase that catch them young. So if we do that and that child is happy right from the beginning, the likelihood of the child staying in the church is very high. Yeah. It's very high. So I think we should be looking at that as well.
And I think the child will associate the church to a safe place.
Yes, that's true.
When I was going through this, the church was able to identify, they found me the right people. Yeah. You know, and sometimes too, we shouldn't just take not the parent necessarily, the adult's word for it.
Yes.
Instantly where people, oh, this person is a bad child, very disrespectful child. This is what they've been doing at home. Can you imagine, this is when I asked her to bath and get ready for church, she made us late. And then from just that one narrative, the church leaders will now say that, oh, this one.
You know the annoying part? Somebody will say, this is what the mother said. So the person is basing his arguments on what the mother says. And what they know. And even a certain deal, not like that's the child's character. Maybe that be the mother, the child did, and then maybe a month later, somebody is reporting or saying something about the child, and then they make reference to that statement the mother made some months ago. I mean, this as children, they will always make mistakes. Children will always make mistakes. I mean, they will step on toes, so to speak, there's nothing like that. They may utter words and that's like that. But we should see those things as one of, I'm not saying that when a child misbehaves, that shouldn't correct. In fact, the Children's Act again talks about correcting children. Okay. Yes. Okay. But then what he says is that if you're correcting a child, make sure that the child understands the correction. And the correction is not above the age, even the stature of the child that you're correcting. So correction should be done. But then we shouldn't, short of words, you always hold on to what the child has done. And the listen the child does, you refer the child to something that he did some days ago, once you correct the child, it should end there. Just forget about it and then
because
try
even
to
we
move
adults, we don't like to be reminded of what we have done when we are trying to do better.
So why do that to a child?
You know.
Yeah.
Okay, Laura, let's look at the individual. This girl came with her story. Let's look at healing, justice, and empowerment. So with this thing, you mentioned early on that some people can go through this and it will affect them the long term. Yeah. So what long-term emotional and psychological effects do you think that this would do to a child going through this young girl that's saying that, oh, now I have gone to school, and she mentioned I am still learning, because clearly there will be a little delay from her peers. You know, even that alone is stigma. Everybody in senior high school is 14 to, so let's say 18, and you come in and you are already in your 20s. The stigma will be there, and you know everything has delayed for you. University has delayed, national service has delayed. What's long-term emotional and psychological effects such form of abuse can have on the victim?
So like I said some time ago, a few moments ago, that if care is not taken, this thing can affect the child forever. But as an individual, you need to take a stand, whether you allow your past to direct you or you let go your past. I don't know at what age she is, but I think that in order to heal faster, she needs to let go. yes, she needs to let go. And then probably channel her energy towards what the uncle never wanted her to become.
Yeah.
So in doing that, in proving them wrong, that's what she ought to do. Try and be what they never wanted you to become. And that will help you to overcome whatever happens to you. Things that happen to people in their childhood are sometimes, even if it's very difficult to forget them.
Yes.
Very difficult, especially when they are the bad ones.
Yes.
The good ones, we tend to forget about them. But the bad ones keep hunting us. So somebody gets abused in the childhood stage. Some of them tend to become abusers. They tend to abuse people that the mere fact that they were abused in their childhood state. So it is something that if care is not taken, it might haunt you to even to when you die. So as an individual, channel your resources and energy towards making a better person. And also ensure that what you went through that you were not happy with, you don't repeat them. So you working almost the whole day that you were not happy, try never to extend that to your children. Or anybody else who comes to stay with you. At some point, certain things must end with someone. So if, like a family chain, my father was abused and this, when it gets to you, try and then stop it. Try and then stop it.
It's very interesting you say that we keep remembering something. This thing happened to me when I was young.
Okay.
My family moved from Takoradi to Accra. And you know Takoradi, the Ghanaian language they will teach you is Fanti.
Yeah.
And when we came to Accra, we had to do Ga.
Ga, yeah.
Yes. So when I got to Accra, I think in class 5, and then we had a Ga teacher who came and said, okay, you are new, what is your name? Introduce myself. And I did. And then she said, do you know how to speak Ga? And I said, no. And then she said, okay, go home and go and ask your father if you should do Ga.
Ga, okay.
So I went to him and I told my dad that, I met the Ga woman. She said I should come and ask you if I should do Ga. And then my father said, okay, if it is optional, because if you're asking, then it is optional, and you'll be writing BC like 2, 3, 4 years, don't then say no, you won't do the Ga, so that at least, yes,
you can continue there.
So I went back and I said, Madam, my father said, per your question, I shouldn't do the Ga because BEC will be coming soon. And this woman said, your father thinks he can sit in his office and dictate to me what to do. Then she grabbed a Ga textbook and she said I should read it. And then I picked it. I don't even know
anything.
So I couldn't read. Then this woman decided that she was going to beat me. So she pulled out a cane and she beat me. And after that, she asked me to go and kneel down in the corner of the class.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. So after that, my father was coming to pick me. And when he came, he could clearly see that, like, I've been beat. I'm crying. My eyes are red. And he asked me, and then I said what had happened. So my father is a policeman. So he escalated the case. He gets like that. He took it to the headmaster. Like, it became a whole thing. But because of what that woman did, Eugene, up till now, I don't know how to speak Ga.
Yeah.
Because there's this aversion to the language. I don't even want to learn it. Because I have that thing about it. It's the language that... the language did nothing, but because of the woman.
What the woman did.
Yes. So sometimes a little something like this.
So like this, for instance, you consciously have to let go what the woman did and start learning Ga.
So now I've been trying to but when I say you laugh at me.
You need to speak 1 or 2 Ga.
Few.
Yes, it's very necessary. Like I said, and I'm sure this woman at a point did something good, but because of that bad thing that she did, all the good things that the woman...
Oh, she came to apologize and all that, but I don't remember that one.
Yes, so that's why we should be very careful when you are dealing with children at that stage. For all you know, the child might even hate you, that you will never know.
Yeah.
And the child will keep that to him or herself. And if you don't take care, the time the child will explode, that will be the worst moment.
She left in class 6, but I can never forget her.
You can't forget her. That's way back then. But you still have those thoughts.
So we have to be careful indeed, as you're saying. How can survivors find healing and rebuild trusts and know their identity and confidence? Because I don't think this lady would ever let any of her children go and live with any family member.
It's true.
And she would always think that people are not who they say they are.
Yeah. You know, things like this sometimes even affect your confidence level.
Yes.
the ability to feel belong when you are in a group of people. Because for many parts of your life, you've been left relegated to the background. So if care is not even taken, you might not even feel like you are even a human being.
Yeah.
So, but I think that we need to help each other. So when you identify people like that, we need to put in much energy and resources to helping people. By saying that, so like the mother, for instance, having gotten to know this, needs to spend a lot of time with the child. The child needs to make up for all those lost periods that she was not able to have enough time with the mother. So spend a lot of time with the child. You can be talking to the child. You can seek external help. A psychologist can come in, try to talk to this child, and then help them to recover. You need to reorient yourself in moments like this. Try to find yourself again. Try to make up for all those lost moments that you never had. And most especially, you need to, like I said some time ago, you need to let go. Just open up yourself and let go. If you are not going to talk to your uncle again, at least you yourself need to accept that this is what has happened. I can't rewrite the wrongs. I can't change the past. I just need to look forward. That should be your prayer as an individual. And that should be your focus. And I'm sure if you continue to sing that song in your mind, day by day, you will overcome. And then you become a better person.
Yeah. Do you think that for healing to take place, she would need to have a conversation with her uncle?
For me, I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I don't think. I'm someone who would walk away from you and would not want to have anything to do. Though I don't have any issue with you because I don't want to bring back memories.
Okay.
So I will just let go. And look at the brighter side. The mother, for me, at this moment, is the brighter side of the child.
Yeah.
Having reconciled with the mother, make the best moment that you have with the mother. I mean, if you go and talk to your uncle, what else is he going to say? Okay, you might get an apology from him, but to some, that apology will do a lot in their lives. To some, that apology will help them to reconcile with their uncle. To some, that apology will help them to empty themselves of whatever hatred that they have with them. Some also would not mind, but would want to reorient themselves, hoping to meet their uncle and then show them that I didn't become what you wanted to be. I've become a better person. So there are two schools of thought. There are two people here. One would want an apology because for them, that apology will do a lot to them, will help them to heal faster, help them to let go, help them to take away any hatred that they had for them. One person will also turn the energy into hoping to be a better person when I see him. So imagine if you do that to me the next time I see you and I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor. At least that will speak for me to tell you that, I mean, whatever bad thing I wanted for me, it never happened. I think Joseph, right? You wish evil for me, but then God has turned it. So there are two ways that you can do that. Maybe demand an apology. It might come, it might not come. Or turn your energy and resources in becoming a better person.
What about the mother and the brother? Do you think that there should be a conversation? Do you think the mother should confront the brother and let him know that you didn't do well for my child? Do you think that there needs to be like a point where the uncle and the wife will know that what they did?
Yes, so I think that one has to do with the extent to which the woman is hurt. It has to do with the extent. There are some brothers, there are some siblings who go through some of these things. They sit down, they talk, and then they are okay. There are some who will think that, that they say blood is thicker than water. Just let it go for the good of the family. So I think it is to the extent to which the woman is hurt. If it's really hurt, that's your brother. You can call. This is what my child came to tell me. All the money I sent to you never sent my child to school. Probably for any weird explanation the man can give, whether you want it or not, at least he has spoken. And then you try and move on. Because I think that we live in a global village, a society where one person depends on the other. I'm not saying the child will go back to the man again for help or whatever. But I think for your own good, just empty yourself and then let things go. So if the woman is really hurt, like I said, the extent to which determines what the next action the woman should do. If she's really hurt by what has happened, she can follow up with the brother and talk to the brother. But if you think she can, just let it go. I mean, you learn lessons from there.
True.
Next time, don't let your child go anywhere again.
That's true. I want you to look at this for me before we go. Regarding children that are taking as house helps, I've seen so many job vacancies on social media saying, looking for a house help or a stay-in nanny, and then they will say something like 15 to 17 or 15 to 19 years. Can a child younger than 18 work in Ghana? Is it legal? And if they do, would they have to be paid? Like for this girl, for instance, should they have paid her for her services, or is it considered child labor? Like, what does the law say about children working and being paid?
So as a child, you can work. As a child, you can work.
Okay.
So what I said was that the work that you do should not affect your education and health.
Okay.
So for instance, you can go to school. When you close, you can sit at the shop of your mother. I mean, your shopkeeper, when your mother is not around. That's also work. So the child can work, but the work should not affect the health of the child. That should affect the education of the child. Okay. If these two things are cleared, the child can work. But as to being a nanny or a full-time job and all those things, I think the child needs to be 18 years before the child can get into that.
Okay.
And remember, the child going to work as a nanny is a full-time job.
Yes.
Yes. So at what age has the child finished school? 15 years. Has he finished the senior high school?
Probably after junior high.
After junior high school. Thank God now we have free SHS and then the FQ for the basic school. So why should you allow your child to go and be a nanny when the child could have gone to senior high school for that?
To make money.
It's good to make money. But then you see, at least let the child have secondary education. It is a tertiary that the child cannot go now.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me the child cannot go for the tertiary education forever. If it's now, the child can work, maybe gather some money, and then get prepared, and then later go. Okay. So the caveat is that the work that the child does should not affect the child's health or education. If the child is going to work in a very serene environment where her health and then her well-being is going to be catered for, she can do that. But in going to do that too, I think that as a mother or as a parent, you need to have a plan. How long is my child going to work?
Yeah.
And what is the focus of the work? She's working to get money so that we support her to do this. I think that will be allowed. But as in, there's nothing at home, so go and work so that we bring the money to the family to, no. It's not the child's duty to take care of the family. It is the parent's duty to take care. So in that regard, I disagree that things like children going to work for the family to enjoy, no. But work for a period of time, fix yourself, and then we help you to go. I think I would support that. For instance, when I finish senior, so I have to go and teach.
Okay.
I thought not that I have to, but I felt that once I sit home and do nothing, yeah. So I went to teach. I was enjoying my money alone. I didn't have any to pay anything on that sort. Yeah. So if a child is working in that environment, that is allowed. But by force, go and work here, you go and work here, and then they are treating you like something, and you still have to do it because that I think that would be wrong.
That would be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, just give your final words to our viewers so we can go.
Her story is probably one out of a million of people who are going through this suffering. So I think that one, the mother, when you send your child away, try to check up on the child. Whilst you are sending money, go there personally, like the school, go and check up on them. If you're a child and you have gone through that, I would tell you to let go. Though it's very difficult, try as much as possible to channel your energy to becoming a better person. And whatever you went through that you never liked, make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. To those who have the other people's child staying with them and they think that, I mean, like I said from the beginning, it's good to serve, but service shouldn't be anything that will affect the health or the education of the child. And also remember that, I mean, time changes. Today, that person is staying with you. You don't know where your children will be the next time. I mean, we are supposed to do unto others what we want others to do unto us. I think that's what I'll say.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Eugene Adu. It's so good to have you in the studio. You have heard it all. Children are protected under the law. So as you're going about your day, doing things that you wouldn't wish done to your children, think about it the law can come for you. And if you ever found yourself in this situation, I am so sorry it happened to you. But like lawyer said, move on, heal, and then look at the positive aspects. This can be a learning curve for you where you become who they thought you could never be.
Yeah.
And also for you to know that when you find someone else's child living with you, you should be a better guardian. You should be a better parental figure for that person. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back same time next week with another exciting episode of Real Talk, where real conversations are had and real solutions are given to our members or our viewers. Thank you so much for watching, and then enjoy the rest of the content on Hope TV Ghana. My name is Evie, and do have yourselves a lovely evening.